This right here is a damn sight to see. Tim Walz practically has a nervous breakdown as this representative puts his feet to the fire and demands he answer for all the injustices he's responsible for in Minnesota. You are not gonna believe how this goes down. So, Governor, do you recognize this picture?
I do recognize the picture.
Briefly describe it to us. What is it? What's going on?
These were folks, I believe the people in the picture now are incarcerated in Minnesota.
It's a precinct 3 burning down because of your decision. Was this a peaceful protest? Was this a peaceful protest?
The gentleman standing there?
Was this a peaceful protest?
It was a criminal act that people were prosecuted for.
So it wasn't a peaceful protest, right?
Folks, you are not going to believe what went down in the House Oversight Committee. We've got Representative Pete Stauber, a guy who spent 23 years wearing a badge, absolutely taking the gloves off against Minnesota Governor Tim Walz. We're talking about a precinct burning to the ground. We're talking about calling law enforcement Gestapo, and then, oh boy, then it gets personal. Stauber drops a stolen valor accusation right to the governor's face, complete with receipts. If you care about the truth in service and law and order, you need to see this. Let's roll the tape.
Thank you very much, Governor Walz. Thanks for being here today. I'm going to ask you a few questions, and I ask you to keep your remarks brief. I got a lot to go through. As you know, I spent 23 years as a law enforcement officer in the state of Minnesota. You know that, right? Do you know that, yes or no?
I don't know how many.
Question. It's not a trick question.
I don't know.
I'll answer it for you. 23 years in Duluth.
Thank you for that.
So, Governor, do you recognize this picture?
I do recognize the picture.
Briefly describe it to us. What is it? What's going on?
These were folks, I believe the people in the picture now are incarcerated in Minnesota.
It's a precinct 3 burning down because of your decision. Was this a peaceful protest? Was this a peaceful protest?
The gentleman standing there?
Was this a peaceful protest?
It was a criminal act that people were prosecuted for.
So it wasn't a peaceful protest, right? As I watched lawlessness devastate Los Angeles this past week, I was reminded of your failure to protect Minnesota from similar riots. Governor Walz, on May 29th of 2020, during your own press conference, you described your response to the riots during the 2020 Summer of Love as, quote, an abject failure. Governor, I couldn't agree with you more.
That's out of context.
And on May 17th, 2025, you were at the law school, graduating Minnesota Law School, talking to the graduates. And we've talked about this. You called the enforcement of illegal immigrants a modern-day Gestapo. You've been asked 3-4 times if you would rescind that, and you won't. Will you rescind it? This is like the 5th time, yes or no?
Congressman, I was talking to law students about due process, and I said you took an oath to due process.
Governor, was there a violent al-Shabaab terrorist who entered our country illegally, arrested in Minneapolis last year? Yes, there was. Were there 3 illegal child predators arrested by ICE in St. Paul earlier this year?
I certainly hope so. That's their job.
Yes, there was. Are the officers who arrested the al-Shabaab terrorists or the child predators, are they Nazis or the Gestapo?
The tactics of wearing
They're
masks.
not.
The tactics of wearing masks.
Unidentified. Why did you tell us that they were the Gestapo? Do you believe that any of the violent illegal immigrants I have mentioned have a right to be in this country?
I don't know what their immigration status was.
They're illegal, violent criminals that the ICE took off the streets of Minneapolis.
You did not say, Congressman, what their status was.
Governor, last week, law enforcement officers in the state of Minnesota took 900 pounds of meth off the streets. Do you support that?
We certainly do.
Do you know that ICE assisted in those arrests and investigations? Do you support the assistance of ICE in that enforcement action? Yes or no?
I can't speak to that because we were not included in the briefing.
You don't know if ICE was part of it? I'm telling you they were.
I don't have that data. I would have to trust you.
Will you apologize to our constituents and law enforcement officers for making them and their families less safe with your incendiary actions?
I'll congratulate them that they helped us work on the largest pension bill for
Governor,
Minnesota law enforcement in
Governor,
30 years.
Claiming my time. Governor, what weapons did you carry in war?
Congressman, for 24 years, I carried.
No. What weapons did you carry in war?
What did you carry in uniform?
I
You
tell
know
you
I
what, Governor,
misspoke.
you're
I
barking down the
misspoke.
wrong tree, okay?
You know I
You
misspoke.
lied to the Minnesotans. You said that you carried weapons in war.
Mr.
That is
Chairman.
stolen valor. You know what? My wife served 24
Mr. Chairman,
years in the
a little
military.
bit of
respect for the
and
witness.
she's an Iraq war veteran.
You know what I mean?
She was
This
over in the
hectoring is not-
war
not-
zone. That's
On a point
stolen
of-
valor, and I'm so
Point of order,
disgusted with
Mr.
you.
Chairman.
And so are the people that you served
Point
with.
of order.
Point of order.
That's
Halt,
stolen valor.
just a minute. State
Stolen valor.
I don't know. Mr.
You didn't
Chairman,
carry weapons
that's
in
not questioning
war.
the witness.
Congressman, my 24 years was
That's not
public for
Will you
many, many
apologize
years.
for lying?
Objection.
Will you
No, I misspoke.
apologize for lying?
Objection.
All right, hold on, pause.
That's not questioning a witness. That's not questioning a witness. You think
Point of
so,
order.
huh?
State your point, Mr. Rankin.
No, you're
State
yelling
your
at
point.
him.
There you go.
You're hectoring. You're hectoring.
All right.
You're hectoring.
State your
Governor,
point.
you didn't carry
That's
weapons
not-
in war, did you?
State your point.
You didn't
Proceed.
carry
You
weapons
got
in war.
24 seconds.
Did you?
Congressman, you know I
didn't carry
misspoke.
weapons in war, yes or no?
Thank you.
You lied. Governor, what rank did you retire at? What rank did you retire at?
Congressman, I served my battalion as the command sergeant major.
That's not the question
and for
I asked. What rank did you retire at?
I retired as a master sergeant in
Okay,
EA.
here's your coin that says you're retired at a command sergeant major. That's
Says
your
I wore
challenge
that.
coin.
It
This
says
is-
I wore the rank.
This is that's right. You didn't retire, did you?
I did
Stolen
retire after
valor.
24 years.
Here is a picture of your coin, your challenge
Jesus
coin.
Christ.
I'm disgusted with you. I'm just.
Mr.
Governor,
Chairman, the
you
time
lie
has
when the
expired.
truth-
Congressman,
you lie
I'm-
when the
Gentleman's
truth is
time's
better.
expired.
You called half Trump supporters Nazis and fascists, and you know what? That's why the Minnesota Police and Peace Association did not support you in the last election because
Oh, I
you're
support
missing in
them.
action.
Gentleman's time's expired.
On behalf of the folks from the land of rocks and cows, thank you. Now you go back.
Chair recognizes Ms. Tenney from New York.
You know what pisses me off the most about most of the Democratic Party in 2026? They think they hold the moral high ground over every damn body else. Hell, Walz himself called half of Donald Trump's supporters Nazis and fascists. That's labeling tens of millions of Americans with the worst names you can imagine. Just because they don't line up with your political BS. I'm sorry, but that's ignorance at its finest. I don't know about you, but if somebody has a difference of opinion with me, I'll say, you know what, let's debate it out. Let's talk. Tell me your side. I'll tell you mine, and we can find some mutual ground. We can understand our differences. But Tim Walz? He sits there and says, if you don't believe what I believe, you're a bad person. You're a Nazi. You're a fascist. You're every ugly name in the book just because he knows if there was an honest conversation between the two sides, there's no way in hell he'd come out on top. All this man does is lie, deceive, and mistreat Americans, as far as I'm concerned. Do you think it's a coincidence that the police department in Minnesota was actively going against Tim Walz, their own governor? When a VP is picked for the general election, they usually choose one from a state that's a lock to win. Your vice president's from there. The people from that state are gonna vote for him. But with Tim Walz, that police department was straight up rebelling against him because of his idiotic policies over the years. And not only that, not only did his own police department turn on him, but the majority of his own family, his blood relatives, said, you know what, I ain't voting for Tim Walz. The fact that he's even in the running for VP shows the Democratic Party is nothing but a hot mess. For goodness sakes, how many times does this man have to lie before people just laugh in his face and say, you know what, your political career is done, we're not voting for you anymore, we ain't taking you seriously. The man lied about stolen valor. Is there anything this guy will tell the truth about? As far as I'm concerned, hell no. He said one time that if there was a 25-foot wall keeping out illegal immigrants, he'd build a 30-foot ladder just so they could climb over. Does that sound like a guy who's actually concerned about the well-being of Americans? Or is he only worried about importing as many voters as possible, so he can stay a permanent fixture in American politics? And he has zero moral compass. He'll do whatever it takes to grab more power. It doesn't matter if it means putting Somalis as first-class citizens in America. Even if they're not citizens, it means putting hard-working Americans dead last. The people who support this country, who make it run, they're treated with total disdain, while folks who are just milking this country dry get put on a pedestal. I'm sorry, but enough is enough. The American people are done with this BS. We're done with Tim Walz, and as far as I'm concerned, there needs to be a DOJ investigation into this man, and if arrests come, then arrests come. I'm sorry, but the law has to be followed. I don't care if you're the president, The vice president. I don't care who you are. We need to live in a colorblind society. If you break the law, repercussions need to come your way. That's the only way to get this country back on track. And it needs to happen now. But yeah, let me know your thoughts down below. What do you think is the worst thing Tim Walz has done in his political career? Spill it. I'd love to hear. And if you enjoyed, make sure to smash that like, comment, subscribe, and I wish you guys nothing but the best. Till next time.